I wanted to talk about as a service because, there's a change happening. This is the business model of the future. Well, actually, let's be honest, it's a business model that's happening now. And I know a lot of you are doing that, say, I'm doing managed services, I get it. But there's a shift that has happened, and I want to educate everybody on what that is. We interact with a lot of partners, and I hear what a lot of the best partners are doing. So let's talk about what this means. If you think about as a service and what it is, it's really a customer experience, right? It's a change. It's really, as a service is a subscription. The customer is paying for productivity and uptime. A little bit different than what we did 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where they were just paying for a server and some workstations, and we supported those things. It's about supporting the customer. I see this quote all the time on LinkedIn, on social media. Everybody says it. It's a customer's world we are living in, and it is. As things go to subscription, they own the relationship. The sale doesn't end when they sign that quote. The sale begins then, right? Because then every month you have to sell them, every month. Subscription. I talked to a partner yesterday in the Solution Pavilion that said, we're taking this so serious, we don't even do annual contracts with our customers anymore. We know we're good at what we do. We tell them we'll earn your business every month, and they just bill them monthly. The customer can leave at any time. This is becoming the way that you got to do it. That's as a service. So let's talk about how we got here real quick, right? You spent the past 25 plus years connecting everything. You laid the infrastructure. You got the computing power out there. You focused on technology. I used to be a tech. I focused so much on technology, I would flat out just ignore the customer, right? How many times you get an alert, server's down, you'd show up, you'd run right past the customers to the server. Or you'd get a ticket in, what would the first thing you do? You remote into the server. Well, how many people are guilty of doing that? You don't call the customer. I don't want to talk to them. I want to talk to the server. It's fun. That's not going to work. That is not going to work, right? You got to get focused on the customer. So now we have to run to the customer. What's going on? How can I help you? Understand what their challenges are. Again, because they're paying for productivity and uptime. The technology, they don't get dazzled by the gigahertz and the terabytes and the gigabit speeds. That doesn't mean anything to them. And we used to be really good at talking that talk and dazzling them, and they were buy the technology. Now they want to buy an experience. All right, so when you look into how as a service works, we've spent a lot of time on the product team understanding what you're going through and your customers, and we know that when you land a new customer, the first 6 to 9 months is the most important time. This is when you've got to set that first impression. This is when you have to build loyalty. This is when you need to get them to adopt the service. This is the period where churn happens the most. And I'm going to get into what churn is. It's different than termination rate. And I know you're thinking, Craig, we know this. But I've seen what you do. You're not using systems at their efficient way to nurture them in that first 6 to 9 months to build loyalty. That's what the platform's here for. You can stop by our booth in a pavilion. The product team's there, the support team, the sales team. They're there to show you how ConnectWise can help you with this. Through technology, sending emails at the right time, workflows. You've really got to focus on that because a great book I once read said, if you're going to lose the customers during this period, and when they go, they're going to take 3 to 4 times the amount of value with them, gone, that you would have made. And not only that, they've gone somewhere else, and then they get happy there, and then they refer all their peers to that provider as well. So this is very important because also, right, I spent a lot of time talking to you. I've heard, man, I'll be lucky if I get 1 new customer a year. Some of you are doing a great job getting 3 or 4 a month. That's great. But it's becoming very competitive getting customers. And that's why when you go to as a service, you got to get focused on the customer. And I'll talk about the strategy as we move on. Now, a whole new set of metrics to look at. When you're doing subscription type things as a service, you got to focus on churn, retention, customer acquisition cost, and lifetime total value, CAC and LTV. How many people have heard those terms, CAC and LTV? Not many. Okay, this is something that we get real familiar with in a SaaS world, but you are dealing with the same thing because you're doing as a service and you have to move everything, right? Yesterday I talked to a partner that does heavy copy print. They have 10% of their businesses managed services. They want to convert their copy print to as a service. So these are the metrics they're going to want to look at. So what does churn mean? Well, when you look at churn, you're saying over a given period of time, how many customers come and how many leave? It's pretty obvious. But I hear a lot of you say, oh, no, I know my termination rate. My termination rate for this year is positive, or my termination rate, I only lost 2%. But when you look at churn on like a monthly basis, if you're doing that much volume, you're looking at churn of customers, looking at churn of the services you provide to them, it could tell a different story, right? You could sell 5 things and have 3 get canceled, and your churn rate's pretty bad then, right? It's like 60-some%. I should have done an equation that was easy. You sell 4, you lose 2, you're 50%. That's churn. And we have to start looking at this. You have to start looking at churn. And then there's retention. This is the flip side of it. And when we get into other formulas, you'll know, I don't want you to just look at numbers just to look at numbers. I want you to know what you got to do with them. So retention is the flip side. How many are you keeping? You should watch this so you can do activities to ensure your retention is high because customers are getting expensive. I've heard that private equity is pumping a lot of money in this industry into some MSPs that are in here, and you're able to cut your costs drastically to get customers. And those of you that aren't doing those, that don't have that kind of funding, retention is really important. You got to do activities to keep them. And when you look at retention, there's activities such as high-touch activities where you go on site, you go to dinner with them, you go to lunch, right? You're building this loyalty and friendship. There's low-touch activities like phone calls, there's tech touch, analyzing the services you've delivered and then reaching out to them and ensuring that they're happy with it so you can retain them. So that's another metric to look at. Now, customer acquisition costs. This one's pretty simple, but I don't know too many that are actually looking at this. How many people can tell me how much it costs them to acquire a customer? I said 1 hand, 2, 3, right? Not the whole room. You should know this because you'll understand how much it costs. You're like, whoa, we got to make sure we don't lose them because the 3 to 4 times the value I mentioned, right? So when you look at customer acquisition costs, here's what goes into that. All the sales and marketing efforts you do over a period of time, plus onboarding costs. Because I know you do projects to get customers in and you bill for some of it, but not everything you're billing for. Right? The setting up, the doing the documentation, getting them on board with your support. So you got to take all those costs over a period of time and then divide it by how many customers you won. So I'll do an example here. Let's say we look at a quarter and we know we spent $20,000 over that between sales, marketing, and onboarding. We brought 4 customers on. Easy math. Cost $5,000 to bring on a customer. That's actually pretty low. I bet if some of you got in there and looked, you'd realize, geez, we spend maybe $20,000. Right? I use this example because there's a lot of people in the room, you don't really do much in marketing other than maybe a local event or some referral, but some of the partners that are doing really well and having explosive growth here are getting into digital marketing to get leads or getting into email campaigns and honing in on that because we've got to get as many customers as we can in this subscription world. And then lifetime value. This is important to understand so that you can predict revenue. So, lifetime value, we take the gross margin average. This is a good one, 40%. Your monthly churn, we know how to calculate that. I'm going to say, okay, we lost, 2% over this period of time in a month, and our average MRR is $5,000. Our lifetime value is $100,000 per client. Now, those of you that have finance degrees, you're saying, Craig, you're forgetting to calculate the discount rate, time value money. I'm trying to simplify this. But you can do that, right? Apply a 5% discount because over time. Now, what good are metrics to look at if you can't benchmark yourself on someone? So a real simple thing to do is to do the ratio. What's our ratio of CAC to LTV? In this case, it's 1 to 5. That's really good. 1 to 3 is still pretty good. Anything lower than that is not good. And you should look at what am I doing to retain customers? Right? What am I doing to lower costs to acquire? Anything above 1.1 to 5, you are doing amazing. Okay, so these are new metrics that you should look at as you go into as a service. And I know I went through some math there. We have a webinar series. We're going to start on January 10th for this. You could go to this website and sign up. We're going to give you the formulas, but we're going to teach you the best practices of how to set up the platform so that you can get this data out of there. And then we're going to show you how to get the data, and then we're going to show you things you can do to get better. I get it. There's a lot of people in the room saying, "Dude, I've been doing managed services for 15 years. I know this." But I'm telling you, we'll help you find something because, look, what does this all mean? I want you to make more money. I know you're saying, "Hey, show me something that's going to help me make more money." That's what this is. Now, what's the impact on your business? Right? So you have to adopt a culture of customer first, customer needs. But look at this impact that happens operationally on your business. And you see this happening. You know what this feels like. In the past, you'd go to a distributor, you'd go to a vendor, a solution partner, you'd buy a server, you'd buy some software, you'd pay one bill, that's it, one bill. You'd deliver it to the customer and you'd invoice them once, one time, that's it. Those are easy. Very low transaction business. But now, in as a service, we know this is high transaction. Now you're going to the distributor and the vendor, partner, solution partner. You have to pay monthly. So now you're kind of like this landlord of technology. I'm in the middle. I got to pay for this. Now I got to bill monthly. Very high transaction now going on, and the platform's here to help you with this because we see up to 40% change happening in this world. It's a mentality change, right? The customer hasn't invested tens of thousands of dollars in infrastructure because things are going in the cloud. They feel like they can change it easier because they're used to subscription. They have cell phones. They know, hey, I'm going to turn this service on when I go on vacation. I'm going to turn it off when I get back. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. There's a subscription mentality that the customer has that you have to adapt to. And there's going to be a lot of change, and you're going to need systems to manage all of this. This is what ConnectWise does with manage, automate, sell, control, unite. We're going to help you deliver every technology as a service. Okay, I'm going to hit you with some big numbers to get you really excited about your business. Now, I want to take all this, and let's just show the impact this has. So I'm going to take a $10 million company as an example. And they're selling some product. Now, working with service leadership, we know that when you sell product, your revenue valuation of your company is going to be 0.12. So every $1 of product you sell, your company is worth 12 cents valuation. You're going to deliver time projects, labor, right? That's worth 0.6. So every $1 labor you sell, it's worth 60 cents. Valuation, revenue valuation. And then the recurring revenue stuff. Now, service leadership says 1.3, the value. We've seen up to 3, right? I watch channel E to E. I see these MSP mergers and acquisitions happening every day. We see what the value is. Now, that's a big multiplier. Let's take a look at what that looks like, right? I'm going to take a company that's doing a lot of product, probably doing some systems integration, time and materials work, and some recurring revenue, probably backup. What's that look like? Well, that company is a revenue valuation of $5 million. Now, I know you're like, hey, what about EBITDA? Yeah, you got to do the EBITDA valuation, and then you average it out. But I'm trying to keep this simple. Now, let's take the same company. Let's say, hey, they're doing more as a service, right? They're doing some product, right? You got to buy product. You still have to buy cloud services and solutions. And there's still on-premise stuff. But you have to install it too. There's a time and materials. What does this company look like? Well, this company is worth $16.5 million revenue valuation. This is why as a service is a business model of now. This is why as a service is going to get you money. Big money. There's a lot of people transitioning out. Arlen's going to talk about that. And you want to know, how can I get value in my business this way? And the platform is there to help you with all of that. All right, so look at that. Look at the difference. Same $10 million business, the difference in values, right? 3x. Okay, I'll sum up as a service with this. Here's a very simple methodology you follow as you do as a service. And you want to look at your managed services you're already doing and see, am I perfected this? Very easy. Adoption, satisfaction, upsell, and retention. Now, adoption, I think the first time I really ever talked about that was last year on this stage. What does adoption mean, right? You go out, you set up a system at the client. We used to just do systems integration. You go out, you put, okay, here's your email. How many people then checked and made sure they were actually using it? That's what adoption is, very simply. You're selling a solution, now you're checking to make sure they've actually adopted it and are doing something with it. This is where you're going to differentiate yourself from everybody else because, look, technology is commoditized. All of it is getting there. The customer understands what technology can do. They want to know, how are you going to do something different? You're going to ensure they're adopting those services. And you can't go to a new prospect and hit them with everything. Here's my greatest security. Here's my greatest backup, my greatest managed services. How can they adopt all of that at once? They can't. So you want to hit their immediate pain, get them to adopt that, and get them very satisfied with you. You're going to have to do these high-touch activities, on-site visits, right? Look at the way you onboard your customers. Seriously, look at the way you're onboarding them and find ways to improve that to ensure you're driving satisfaction. Because once you drive that and you get the loyalty, they will start buying more from you. Now you can bring your advanced security solution. Now you can bring your advanced backup and all the other things that you're managing in that technology menu. Upsell them. Look, I told you about the private equity coming in and helping these MSPs. This is what they're doing. They're saying, let's cut costs. Let's get people to adopt these cheaper services. And then once we hook them, we're going to sell them the expensive ones. And retention. You got to focus on retention. You have to watch, what are they doing, right? You look at the systems they're using. When you start to see their usage drop off, you know you better do some retention activities. And you know your customers, whether it's lunch or on-site visit or training, something to ensure they're not going to leave. Because you're looking at your cost to acquire and you realize, I don't want to spend another $20,000 to get another customer back in here. And in that first 6 to 9 months, if they do leave, you probably are losing money. Because you will not have made up that $20,000 yet. Okay. Now, if you think I was going to come on stage and not show product, you're wrong. But sorry, I'm not doing it live this time, so all the jokes and all the, did it work, is not going to happen. So, new customer portal. We are building a new customer portal that's heavily branded. You can brand it, make it look however you want. Now, I want to tell a little story before I get into the portal. Here's what I've learned, right? I visited this partner in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, network doctor, and one thing I found fascinating was they're wildly successful with as a service, growing rapidly. And I'm trying to figure out what is it they do that's different than anybody else, and they're really focused on justifying their existence to the customer. And our advisory council has been talking about this too. So this is a thing that people got to start doing. Justify your existence. And David at Network Doctor says, here's how I justify my existence. I show them the network maps and all the documentation we do for them. We give them access to a dashboard that shows all the service we're doing with them and their uptime and everything they're getting. And then I also let them remote control their own machines from a portal if they want to. And I thought, man, that is really great. And then now when he sends the $10,000 bill to the customer, they can see, what is he doing for me? He's justifying his existence with that customer through this. So I want the portal to be your justifying your existence. We want the portal to be your way to deliver a customer experience, a way to find customer success. So we're giving you a highly branded portal. This is in pilot right now with a few select partners. It's coming out in January. If you stop by the booth, ask them about it. So a new portal is heavily branded. They could come in, work tickets, see their tickets there. They can do invoicing, pay invoicing. This is Connect Booster, a great partner in our ecosystem that we've been working with. I know a lot of partners use Connect Booster for automatic payments. They've helped us in this pilot, doing some great work there. We won't forget about PayPal. But a new portal. And then this portal is flexible. All these pods have APIs. We're going to allow everything to come in here. If you're working with WebRoot and you want to put a WebRoot dashboard in here to show the customer, here's what's going on with your security, you can do that. You want to put control in here so they can remote control their computers from anywhere, you could do that. This is going to be a highly flexible portal that you can fully customize and deliver your own unique customer experience. Oh, one thing on that portal, I know what you're thinking. How is my customer ever going to remember the password to that? I've been there. It'll have single sign-on if you want to connect it to their Active Directory so they can just click and they go in. Okay, we're putting that in there too. What else have we done? We have single sign-on. The whole platform has single sign-on for you. This is rolling out right now. Right? We've created our own identity provider on our platform where you can come in, configure an identity, and then associate it to the multiple products in the platform. And we're going to bring the ecosystem in there, so you only have to log into one thing to get to all the tools to support your customer. And it has multi-factor authentication. And not too long from now, right? This is going out now, but our next iteration of this, early 2019, we'll hook it into Azure Active Directory and regular Active Directory so you can use that. So single sign-on. All right, you asked for it, we delivered in the portal. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, what else? Ha! A new way of using the platform. A user-centric view of how you do your job. Right? Traditionally, the platform is set up in a way that's very functional, the way you do your business, right? Sales, marketing, finance, all the things. Now, and then you had to find your way to do your job. Now we're just going to present your job to you. So in Q1 of 2019, these dashboards are going to start rolling out. They're very interactive. If it's important to you to see your schedule and interact with your schedule and work on tickets, there'll be a new ticket screen here, but you can still go back to the classic view, right? Like Windows 95 when we had that. How many people, as soon as you got the new Windows, you're like, classic view, where'd it go? But this will be our new one on top of the existing one. So if you're like, I love that ticket, don't take that, you can still do it. So a new way of looking, very interactive. Oh, how many quotes? 91, click, you can interact with those 91 real easy, right? A new way of looking at your customers. Because we understand as a service, we're going to build these metrics into here so you can look and see how much it costs to acquire this customer, what's their lifetime value, what's important. And single sign-on, you can get around to all the other apps in the application here too. Okay, this is going to start rolling out. We are heavily in development of this right now. January, February time. And then the marketplace. You can't do as a service efficiently unless you have everything connected in one place. Right? We're connecting the platform. We want to connect everything else in the ecosystem. So all the solutions you're providing to your customers, like Acronis, WebRoot, StorageCraft, InfraScale, and so on. We're going to put this right inside the platform where you do your job, where you provide as a service to your customers. You can click and buy these solutions very easily. And since it's in Manage, we'll automatically map it to the customer, and we'll automatically sync it to the agreement so you can build them. Because I talked about there's going to be high transactions going on here in the as a service world. And we want it to just be click, 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 done. Right? So very simple to use. Our new marketplace, excited that that's coming out.